Hey guys, welcome back to another trade recap. So a bunch of things have happened this month. I got my MFF challenge fee refunded, which is great news. I started a FundedEngineer 200k challenge with the challenge fee that I got refunded, and I added a new grading system to my trade journal. I'll go over that in more detail in a moment. To get my MFF challenge fee refunded, I basically just contacted my business bank account, which is Revolut, and I told them that I'd been scammed. So I just sent them the CFTC report, said that I hadn't gotten what I'd paid for, and I got my refund in 50 days. So there's been a lot of Black Friday sales this month, and I decided to basically just reinvest that challenge fee I got refunded straight into a 200k FundedEngineer challenge, because I like to get a max allocation with a prop firm before looking at any others. It wasn't a crazy discount, it was 15% off, but it had 90% lifetime profit split, which is the main thing that I focus on. And finally, I added a new grading system to my trade journal. So I went through all the trades that I took this year, and I gave each one a grade from 0 to 10, completely based off of my own discretion. So now I know in the future, it's only worth taking any trades for me. It's only worth taking trades which are graded 8 or higher. So 8, 9, or 10, those are the trades worth taking. Going through my data, any trades which I took which were 7 or less didn't really make me any profit. It was either break even or losing. So I've been able to slash loads of trades off of my trade journal that way. So anyway, that's it for the news this month. Now we'll go over some trades. So this month I took 5 trades, I think, which gave 0.3% profit in total. We'll go over these trades now. So this is the first trade I took this month. This was a flag on NJ. So this was definitely a little bit more aggressive. I still gave it an 8 out of 10 though. So although we're coming from range bound price action, there was some pretty high probability price action within here. So first things first, we're kind of in a larger trending market. So I'm seeing like an impulse, a correction, and I'm starting to see this being the continuation of that impulse. So larger trending market. We had a V followed by a range here. So that's a second confluence to make me believe that price wants to move up. And within this range, we're seeing some shifts to the downside, which tells me there's a liquidity area above it. I saw this wick take out that liquidity area, and the next candle didn't retrace, it continued, which shows a lot of buying power because we took out all that liquidity and we didn't retrace. So although this is quite a small impulse and we are coming from range bound price action, those are the only 2 negatives of this trade. The flag itself is really clean as well. So it just tagged me out and then it went up and would have made about 15%, I think. So it's quite unfortunate, but this was definitely a little bit more of an aggressive trade and is certainly borderline for me. I might even give this a 7 in the future. But yeah, at the time, I did see a lot of confluences in this trade, which made me decide it was worth the risk. I definitely wouldn't take this earlier in the week though. So this was a 1% loss. Here's the second trade I took this month. This was a continuation on NJ. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. It made 4.3%. So this was basically a perfect trade. We're coming from quite good price action. You could say this is quite descending, but we definitely have taken out liquidity below this range with this wick, and then we took out the liquidity below this wick with this wick. We saw a shift up, really clean impulse, tiny pullback candles, really nice pullback candles, and a break which had a solid close. So there was no reason not to say order for this trade. This trade was basically perfect. I think most people though had set their order on the inside bar, which means that they didn't get tagged in, whereas I have set my order on the outside bar. I won't explain how highs and lows work, but for me, the way that I consider this, I will put my high and the low on the same candle. Whereas I think some people will just default to the inside bar, which I don't necessarily do. It is definitely better to have your order a little bit lower, because price has to pull back more to tag you in, which is a positive thing. But in this case, you wouldn't have been tagged in at all, which means you would have missed out on this trade. So yeah, personally, I'm sticking to the way that I normally do it, the way that I've back tested. This trade I think it did run to about 10%, 9.5%, 9.9%, and it ended up coming back and tagging me up for 4.3%. So it may also look, by the way, like I've been tagged out here, but this was during spread hours when I'd actually moved my stop loss 30 pips back because spreads increase, especially on these Japanese yen pairs. So I'd moved my stop loss back, and when spread hours finished, I moved my stop loss 2 pips below this low here. So that was NJ, 4.3% win. Here's the third trade I took this month. This was a flag on AJ, and I actually gave this one a 7 out of 10. So I might not actually take this trade again in future. The reason I gave this a 7 out of 10 was for 3 reasons, I think. First of all, prior price action is range bound. Second of all, we didn't really have enough of a range. And third of all was something new, which my mentor spoke about this month. So this was quite a flat flag, which means that there was liquidity above it and liquidity below it, which means that it's not really worth taking a flag like this until price has entered that liquidity area. And you can see as soon as this wick pierced this lower liquidity area, price immediately shifted up. So maybe in the future, especially if there hasn't been enough of a range, I might wait to see what happens when price breaks into this lower liquidity area. And maybe I could even consider a new entry rather than taking it off of the first entry here, but waiting until this liquidity area has been taken out and kind of taken off of a third break and retrace. I don't know, but I'm just thinking about this now. But yeah, this trade 7 out of 10 because price action wasn't the best. If it was coming from a descending channel, this would at least be an 8 or a 9. But yeah, just because not enough of a range really considering that wick. Not a bad trade though, and I'm quite happy with it, especially on a Wednesday. So this is the fourth trade I took this month. I actually forgot to talk about this one until now, which is why the face comes off. This is a flag on EU, which resulted in a 1% loss. So this trade was coming from really nice prior price action. We've got a little V followed by a range, which led to a huge impulse up. The only reason I gave this one a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 is because there's a little bit of a slowdown and a wick on top. The flag formation was perfect. Say we had this exact flag formation right here, then this would have been a 10 out of 10 trade for sure. We were even able to reduce risk on the entry candle, which means if price were to have broken the high, we'd have immediately reduced our risk to half. So yeah, this is a really good trade. I'd take this one over and over again. So the fifth trade I took this month was a combo on AJ. So this was a really high probability trade. I gave it a 9 out of 10. So we're kind of descending below this larger liquidity area. We had a V here, so you know there's liquidity here. Initially, I had my order set for a reversal, but I didn't get tagged in. Price continued moving up. This first candle, although it was engulfing, it didn't really show me a shift in momentum in the grand scheme of the impulse. It definitely showed me a soft shift, so I kind of wanted to see the next candle just to confirm that that wasn't a shift in momentum. And the next candle retraced, it was bullish, it continued moving up, so I had no doubt that this wasn't really a shift to me at that point. So I sent my order for the combo after this candle. Had this candle not tagged me in, I would have entered on the flag for sure. And unfortunately, it just tagged me out and then continued moving up. But yeah, this was a really good trade. Combos are very high probability on AJ. It's the pair that they work out the most on. So I was very happy with this trade and I would for sure take it again, but 1% loss this time. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. I really appreciate you guys following along these trade recaps with me. Make sure to comment this emoji to show me that you made it to the end. Like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you want to see my future content. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next week.